And part of Merrymart'S plan is to have online delivery by the third quarter of the year, which I really believe will complement what they're currently doing. So, if there's one thing that this pandemic has added and given businesses, it's the ability for them to be able to add another stream because a lot of people also have been pivoting, meaning a lot of people who are not so used to online transactions or e-commerce, they're the ones doing a lot of e-commerce transactions now. And if there's one thing that I do know, this entire pandemic and lockdown has caused and forced a lot of people to transact more online. Hey guys, so it's been 3 weeks roughly 3 weeks since the IPO of Merrymart. And as you all know, we've done a deep dive for Merrymart prior to the IPO, and we covered Merrymart during the IPO as well. That's why for now, we're gonna continue and follow on and track what's happening to Merrymart. For those who bought at the IPO and are still holding it, you have context on where Merrymart is right now. You have context also on its fundamentals. Is there something that has changed from the time that I created the fundamentals and valuation video for Merrymart up to where we are now? And then of course, we're gonna do price action and technical analysis. So by the way, for those who are watching this for the first time, we did a Merrymart IPO series. I'll put the playlist here in the description below, so you guys can click that if you want to see the first week price action of Merrymart, the fundamentals, the valuations, everything that's connected to the IPO. And as you all know, Converge will be having an IPO late this year. So for those who want to see the context of how we analyze Merrymart for its IPO, you can also look at that. For this video, I will chop this topic into 5. Since Merrymart is already listed in the stock market, basically they are mandated also to show their earnings. So first part of the video, first quarter earnings, we're going to talk about its assets as of the last disclosure. Number 3, how did the coronavirus affect Merrymart in its plans and the narrative and the things where it's supposed to go? And number 4, the main goal, the main target of the company. And number 5, technical analysis. As you all know, my style, my technique is everything you need to know also is found on the charts. So if you guys are ready, if you guys are excited, comment, I'm excited, I'm ready, I'm willing to learn, I want to know more. By the way, my name's Marvin Gurmo. I'm a stock market trader and investor, and we create daily videos about trading, about the stock market, about investing to help you, to guide you, to give you a reference point and a strategy on how you can build wealth over a period of time. So if you want to know more about how you can use the stock market to help you grow what you have, subscribe, smash the bell so you get updated every time I come up with new content about investing and the stock market. So let's get into the thick of the action. First things first, first quarter earnings results. So by the way, for those who are new, listed companies are mandated to show their earnings every quarter. So the next one for Merrymart, at least they will be disclosing second quarter earnings results probably around end of July or August to show you how their second quarter earnings went. And for sure, I'm going to give you an update also when that happens. So first things first, Merrymart first quarter 2020 booked a net income of 8.35 million pesos. And this is 50.5% higher than the 5.5 million pesos that they got last year. So please do note the 50.5% increase was pretty much just because of the first quarter, which did not include the lockdown. If there was portions of the lockdown, it was only the 2 weeks where NCR or a big chunk of the country was put in ECQ. But we will see the full effects of the lockdown for the second quarter earnings results that they will give. That being said though, the first quarter earnings for Merrymart was much better than where it was last year. So I repeat, 5.5 million to 8.35 million, giving them a 50.5% increase. Its revenue is also up 39.47% from 568.6 million the first quarter of 2019 to 794.9 million pesos first quarter 2020. And this was predominantly because they had more stores. Please remember, more stores, more chances for them to get revenue, more stores, larger foot traffic, more things that they could actually sell. So the new branches that they opened for the first quarter of 2020, I'm sure for some of you guys from the Bay Area saw this. Ayala Mall, Manila Bay, the largest Ayala Mall, I think, in the Philippines. Then you also have the Gupan City, Calamba, Sorsogon. So as of this video that I'm making, they currently have 7 stores, 7 branches, 7 stores. 4 of them were in the first quarter of the year. So the 568 revenue was from the 3 stores that they had first quarter 2019. The 794.9 million pesos revenue, it already factors in and adds the 4 new stores that they had. So 7 branches, 7 stores. The goal and the total that they want to get for the year is 25. So that means from the time we're making this video, or at least from the second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter, they plan to build the 18 branches to bring them to 25 stores by the end of 2020. So that's the first quarter earnings results. Next, assets. First quarter assets is up 1.9 billion pesos as compared to 914.6 million pesos at the end of December 2019. Their equity, in essence, also pushed up, but this does not factor in yet that June this year they did an IPO, meaning that equity portion, that asset portion, is expected to be much higher also for the second quarter or second half of the year. So the reason why I'm saying that is that's what they're gonna use for their funding, for them to be able to expand and grow. So the proceeds, as you all know, for those who watch the IPO videos, was basically for them to start to increase the number of stores, and that's one of the reasons why they took in capital, took in investments from the IPO for them to be able to build, for them to be able to have more stores. So expect larger assets brought about by the IPO, which will be translated into more stores for them. Next, coronavirus effect. One of the biggest advantages of Merrymart in Japsia equated that since they're new, they're very nimble and they're very light. The opportunities for them, the ability for them to be able to pivot is not as hard as compared to the bigger ones, the ones that have more complex structures, the ones that have already things going for them. So if there's one thing that it added to them in terms of what this lockdown has brought them, it allowed them to somehow pivot early. It allowed them to somehow innovate early also while all of this was happening, while they had 4 stores, while they had 7 stores, while they're not yet there in the hundreds of stores yet. A lot of the retail establishments, a lot of the food stores also have been pivoting online. And part of Merrymart'S plan is to have online delivery by the third quarter of the year, which I really believe will complement what they're currently doing. So if there's one thing that this pandemic has added and given businesses, it's the ability for them to be able to add another stream, because a lot of people also have been pivoting, meaning a lot of people who are not so used to online transactions or e-commerce, they're the ones doing a lot of e-commerce transactions now. And if there's one thing that I do know, this entire pandemic and lockdown has caused and forced a lot of people to transact more online. Number 4, their eyes are still on the price because their main goal is still to have 1,200 stores by 2030 with 120 billion in sales. So please remember the figures that I said a while ago. They have 7 stores as of now. Their target is to have 25 at the end of the year, but their main goal in a decade is to have 1,200 stores with 120 billion in sales. Please remember, revenues that I mentioned are 794 million pesos for the first quarter of 2020. Goal, target in a decade is 120 billion in sales. Now, to everyone's favorite, let's look at the charts, let's look at the technicals, let's look at what the price is also saying, because everything you need to know as well is found in the charts. Everything you need to know is found on what the technicals are telling us. Now, here's one thing that I'll show you and I'll highlight also. From the IPO, 1 peso, we saw it start to push up largely massively here. Then, as expected also, if you even compare this to how Double Dragon went, there was a period that after it started to push up, there was a consolidation period. And that's what we're seeing right now. After the large push from June 15 all the way to June 18, we saw it from June 19 to where this last video is July 9 chart, that it started to consolidate. Based on how I'm plotting it, we have a resistance close to the 3.69 level, and then we have a support close to the 2.93 level. So people are pegging 3 pesos as a support level. That could be also because it's very, very close here. So the 2.93 and 3 peso level is somewhat close to each other, and 3 pesos is more of a psychological price number. It's a round number. But looking at this range, please do write this down, and please do take note that 2.93 slash 3 pesos current support level. Resistance, you could peg it 3.69, 3.7, somewhere close to that. If you'll be very, very strict also, you could add it this level, 3.62, to around the 3.69 level for the resistance. So that's where we are right now. Please remember, a resistance is a range. A resistance is an area where there's heavy amounts of selling. Resistance is an area where people think it's relatively expensive, while support is an area where there's heavy amounts of buying, where people think it's relatively cheap. So again, the closer it is to the 2.93 level, and we start to see it somehow here, hits this and starts to bounce, you can adjust your target prices as it tries to go at this level. So 2.93 support, as close as you can here to your will be its resistance level. Now, if this does not hold, this 2.93 level does not hold, allow me to give you an update also on the possible retracement levels. But if there's one thing that I want to show you here, this could be an area, the 2.5 level, the opening price from the previous candlestick, June 19 candlestick, but it's pretty open here. That's the thing about new IPOs, new stocks that enter into the markets. Number one, there's not a lot of price points yet, meaning it's not as easy, as robust for you to be able to plot support areas. There's not a lot of past prices. Remember what I said on the previous videos, that technical analysis is predicated on past prices plotted into charts. Since there's not a lot of past prices yet, we don't have a lot of historical information to base where the range will possibly go. And if you followed what I said also, that in terms of technical analysis, it's all about past prices that you plot in ranges or trends, and that's where we form items to buy and sell using proper risk management. So I hope this helps you. I hope this gives you proper context on where it's moving. And for people who are asking also, is this normal? Please remember, stocks cannot go up forever. The reason why it's consolidating here, because you have people who bought at the early stages that are also taking profits, but you also have people that were not able to buy at the early stages that are starting to buy. That's why it's trying to build and form a base at this particular area, this particular point in time. And that's how you can judge it. Judge it by the risk and reward. Judge it by the support and resistance that you're plotting. Comment below if you're learning. Comment below if this is something that's helping you wherever you are. What I'll do also in the next videos is I'll try to adjust the valuations, the PE ratio, based on the current earnings that they're trying to project and the current earnings that they will possibly have also at the end of the year. But I think no, that would be better off already when we see and have a clearer picture of their earnings, second quarter, third quarter, factoring in all of this lockdowns that we're having. What I do know is currently Merrymart is still expanding. Merrymart is still trying to grow. Merrymart is very aggressive in their push. Pretty much how they've been also with City Mall, how Ed Garcia was with Mang Inasal, that they have a goal, they have a target, they have a track record, they'll try to push and go for that goal. So just to summarize, Merrymart income 8.35 million, higher than 50.5% than last year. Our revenues 794.9 million as compared to 568.6 million pesos in the first quarter of 2019. Again, this was brought about by the new branches that they built. Because of the coronavirus, Merrymart somehow is still nimble and would allow them to pivot and would allow them to innovate as compared to the larger ones and the more structured ones with larger stores and footprint already. That's why Merrymart also is very fast, that they're pushing and trying to go into online delivery the third quarter of this year. And from a charting perspective, it's still consolidating, and I'll update you when it starts to bounce, or should it break down, or should it break out. Rest assured, we're gonna make videos about that for all of you guys. I hope you guys got a lot, and I know there are people who sent questions that, what am I gonna do if I'm making money? What am I gonna do if I bought at the top also and I'm losing money? I made videos about that. It's a video that I posted last week, when should you sell. I hope you guys watch that because it helps you and gives you insight also on what are you supposed to do. And I've been saying this all the time, that in the world of stock investing and trading, what will hit you, what will help you lose money is if you base everything on your emotions. And I keep pushing you to keep on practicing, to keep on learning, to keep on trying to build your skill and your rudiments on how you can trade the markets. Because as you start building that skill, as you start practicing, as you start creating a framework, your rules, your strategies, that's what will help you and take you away from being emotional. Because it's easy to rely on rumors and your friend and everyone else if you don't have a plan. Better not make a trade yet if there's no plan at all, because it's that plan that will be your anchor. It's that plan that will be your guide when things get emotional, when things get volatile, when things get hard. You need to have an anchor that will set you, that will push you, that will take you closer to where you want to be. And where you want to be is predicated on how good you are on setting your plan. And I'll say this over and over, it's Friday. You have a weekend, Saturday, Sunday. Use that time to research, use that time to learn, use that time to build your skill. What you do on your free time determines how will you be later on. What you do on your free time determines how rich will you be. Take the time to hustle, take the time to learn, take the time to build that acumen, take the time to build that experience. And if you're in your 30s right now, wag magmadali. Don't rush it. Why? Because when you're in your 30s, if you plan to invest up until you're 60, 70, you have a long runway to go to build your cash. You have a long runway to go to build that skill and experience. So what if you're not doing so well on the first year? What if you build that properly on year 3, on year 4, you become so good at it? Whatever learning curve that you had in the first year, mababawi mo siya. It's not a sprint eh. It's a marathon. I love studying people that have done well in investing and business. And if you watch Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Ray Dalio, Peter Lynch, the really good ones, the legit investors slash entrepreneurs, they were not in it just for the money. They were in it because it was the game. They became billionaires, but being a billionaire was just a byproduct also of the time, the dedication that they placed into it. And I hope you get that also. I hope you allot that time and dedication also for you to get better. If you do shortcuts, it will take a longer time for you to take that goal. If you're gonna get rich, just do it right, do it properly, love the process. So I hope you guys got a lot from this. Over the weekend, we're gonna have amazing videos still lined up for you, because again, one goal, one heart, to take you and bring you closer from where you are to financial freedom. And I really believe that the stock market is still one of the greatest ways for you to be able to reach that. Lalo na now we have more than 50,000+ cases of infections. Better stay at home. Better to research, learn at home, and trade at home as well. So that's it for now. Marvin Gurmo, pushing you to learn, to trade, and to build the confidence in investing. And I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, guys, and God bless you all.